If you've been scrolling through endless lists of electric guitars, staring at glossy photos and wondering whether the hype around a signature model actually translates into something you can use on a night at the bar, a house party jam, or a full-blown studio session, this review is here to clear the fog. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a good chunk of the last week poking around forums, watching demo videos, and talking to a couple of local players who already own the Fender Jimmie Vaughan Tex Mex Stratocaster, so what follows is grounded in what real musicians are saying, not just a rehash of the spec sheet. First off, the most obvious question people ask is, does this guitar actually sound like Jimmie Vaughan's Texas Blues vibe, or is it just a white-painted copy? The answer is nuanced. The Tex Mex series comes with a trio of Tex Mex pickups that Fender markets as hotter and richer than the standard Strat set. In practice, those pickups give you a thicker mid-range when you dial in that classic overdriven clean tone, but they also retain the single-coil sparkle that makes a Strat sound a Strat. In a live setting, you'll notice the difference around the 12-inch bridge position where a typical Strat might sound a touch thin when pushed. The Vaughan model pushes a fuller edge that sits comfortably behind a gritty blues amp without losing articulation. If you're the type who likes to sit on a porch, fire up a modest Fender Blues Jr., and let the guitar sing at 70% gain, you'll find the tonal character feels like a modest upgrade over a stock American Series Strat. Now, let's talk feel. The neck is satin-finished with a soft V-shape, a 9.5-inch radius and a medium jumbo fret profile. That combination was designed for players who spend a lot of time transitioning between chords and fast single-note runs. On the ground, the soft V-shape feels natural under the hand. There's a subtle taper that guides your thumb toward the center of the neck, which reduces fatigue during longer gigs. The medium jumbo frets slice cleanly, so bending a note in the higher register doesn't feel like you're fighting the wood. The trade-off, however, is that players who prefer a flatter fingerboard, especially those used to vintage-style radius, 7.25-inch, may find the curve a touch too generous for ultra-precise chord voicings. If you've been playing a lot of country licks that require tight chord shapes, you'll want to try it in the store first to make sure the radius isn't pulling your fingers apart. One practical strength that often goes unmentioned is the Deluxe gig bag that comes with the guitar. It's not the flimsy canvas sack you get with a lot of entry-level instruments. The bag has a padded interior, a reinforced bottom, and internal straps that hold the guitar securely without flexing the body. For touring musicians or anyone who hauls gear from rehearsal to gig, that bag can save you a few dollars compared to buying a third-party case. The downside is that the bag, while sturdy, adds a bit of bulk to your loadout, so if you're traveling light and prefer a hard case that can double as a stand, you might look at other models that ship with a case instead. From a visual standpoint, the Olympic white finish is glossy and eye-catching, but it's also a canvas that shows fingerprints and smudges quickly. If you're the type who gets sweaty after a sweaty blues set, you'll need to keep a microfiber cloth handy. The finish itself doesn't affect the tone, but the aesthetic does matter for stage presence. In my experience, the white look works best on stage under blue lighting or on a dark backdrop, where it pops without being flashy. If you're playing in more subdued venues, the white may reflect too much light and become a distraction. Who should buy this guitar? Think of a guitarist who already knows the Strat platform and wants a little extra mid-range punch without stepping into the humbucker world. If you've been playing a standard American Series Strat for years and feel like you're missing a bit of grit when you crank the amp, the Tex Mex pickups will give you that extra bite. It also makes sense for a player who wants a signature model that actually connects to the artist's tone. Jimmie Vaughan's style revolves around warm, overdriven clean tones that sit right at the sweet spot between blues and rock. The guitar's price point sits just above the entry-level line but below the American Series Pro line, so for a mid-budget player, it offers a solid step up in tone without breaking the bank. On the flip side, if you're a hardcore shredder or a metal player who relies on high-output humbuckers for tight, aggressive distortion, you'll likely feel constrained by the single-coil nature of the Tex Mex set. Even with the hotter output, the pickups still retain the inherent noise and brightness of single coils. They won't lock you into a thick, low and heavy sound the way a humbucker would. Likewise, if you're a vintage collector who cherishes authentic 1950s specs, the modern Satin